Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. We live in an age in which that which was held sacred is considered to be profane, and that which is profane is considered to be sacred. An age of turmoil where the previous practices and institutions that once gave meaning to life are looked upon with suspicion. And the crisis that we experience today in practice was present intellectually, and we saw this reality in philosophy and then in other liberal arts and art, so on and so forth, where beauty has no real place and where truth no longer exists. When we look at the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, especially the hadith of intention, and when we try to reflect upon the hadith of intention, the actions are by intention, or all affairs are to be judged by their aims, all actions are to be judged by their aims. We realize that having a sense of orientation and purpose, وَمَا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَ وَالْجِنَّ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ that we haven't created the human beings and jinn except with the intention of what? Of their being beings of worship. So, because Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is Al-Hakim, we find then that there is beauty in the world. We find that there is direction. We find that things do have a purpose. But the reality of kufr itself, the anatomy of kufr, when we look at the structure of kufr, is one which clouds the minds and clouds the mind and it clouds insight. So that virtue becomes iffy. Virtue of patience is questioned. The virtue of chastity is looked upon as a wasting of one's life, not enjoying life. So those things which are held sacred are called into question. Jannah is surrounded by hardship, and Jannah is surrounded by struggle, whereas Jahannam is surrounded by those things which encourage desire, those things which bring out the worst in the human being, but those things which are beautified. So that the beauty of Jannah is covered over and Jahannam becomes beautiful. But that beauty is not a real existent beauty. It's an illusion. An illusion which is destructive to the human being and society, but which is addictive, which causes confusion, which causes disorientation. So the hadith of intention teaches us that we have to have a sense of direction, and actions then are only counted when they're productive. And productive actions increase Iman, productive in the sense of the Sharia. Actions which are pleasing to Allah. Then those actions which are destructive, which bring about sin and harm, those actions are shunned and are looked upon as not having a sense of direction, or looked upon as being destructive. So the anatomy of kufr, as it is one which clouds the reality of the human being, clouds human potential, and clouds the beauty in society. Free will is what the angels looked upon as a problem. Why? Because the human being could be destructive, or the human being could be constructive in a state of Islam. The angels are in a constant state of Islam. They don't know disobedience. They don't know except the will of Allah. So they question Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala upon the statement, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. Indeed, I'm establishing in the world, in the universe itself, a vicegerent. أَتَجْعَلُوا فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءَ. Will you create within it one who will bring about corruption and bring about bloodshed? إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Allah declares that He knows that which the angels don't know. And that's the secret, that the human being has the potential to rise above the angels or to be worse than animals. So the anatomy of kufr is one which clouds the reality of human potential and accentuates animalism or animalistic practices, or an animalistic existence, where the human being then doesn't have boundaries, but instead engages in actions which are humiliating the human dignity. So the hadith of intention teaches us that without a sense of direction, without the sense of direction which is guiding us toward pleasing Allah, the result is humiliation and a stripping of dignity from the human being. La ilaha illallah wa Muhammad Rasulullah.